You know, indie knows when it wants, it knows how to actually show it till it says, "This is art," and you just see a yaoi image or a, a fluff pillow you sleep with your anime waifu in the corner. That says a lot if the indie does that the first couple of seconds just to give you a laugh. But besides that, Earth God, the indie project, was sort of surprising because this indie was actually really funny. The art is not the biggest, well made. I mean, basically the character designs, they're sort of stick figure, but it doesn't really ruin the whole thing. It's one of those, it's just give it a sort of kind of indie charm because you understand the artist is still learning to develop some of the characters, how to kind of recreate them. But that takes time and years. But the writing is actually really good. So surprising that I'm surprised this was not yet picked up by Adult Swim because how the art is, the comedy, and the voice acting feels something from Adult Swim. It's just sort of weird and out there. In fact, this is the first time on my channel. My name is Retro. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. But besides that, today we'll talk about an indie gem. Now this has become a thing in my channel. Every time I have to talk about indie, I have to say indie gem. This is a statement now. It's official. But besides that, this indie, what it's about, is sort of a character called Neo who actually sent a accidentally streamed DVD, CD recorded to basically a time capsule from space, but just to show how aliens, how people act and work around them. And accidentally, this sort of ship actually got picked up by this sort of high school who thought, oh, this kid Neo is sort of sending their kind of resume, their paperwork to get inside the school. They say the DVD sees what's going on and sort of misunderstood it was sort of Neo's stream and decided, you know what, kid, you're pretty likable. Let's pick you up and let you inside the high school. And Neo Watt realized he did got picked up while his bestie permission. Now he kind of stuck in high school, figuring out how to deal with his alien sort of friends. And that's sort of the whole plot twist. But it does have more narrative story on the second episode. Yeah, this have 2 episodes for right now. The second episode more describe what is the school is about, their sort of traditions, and the reason why Neo's there. Besides, he was sort of accidentally misunderstood to be an applicant for the high school. In fact, the high school is basically meant to make more students more stronger to a very dangerous thing in the near future, so it can help out the main core of the government of 5 different planets. That's basically it, because they were looking for more planets to join to defeat this evil, you can say, criminal evil thing they can't really defeat, but they keep pushing off. But that's not the really focus. It also is not the most original thing, because you've been seeing a lot of high school galaxy kind of shows. I bet there is a genre of it. I can name a few at the top of my head: Galaxy High, Team Galaxy, Void in Space, and it's one the Butch Hartman with Chip Nebula that was a pilot. Just give you a few examples. But ironically, all of them who are based on high school and Galaxy together also got screwed over by their own company just because they mismanaged the money or didn't know how to sell it or didn't make sense to them to keep it. Usually anything with high school and Galaxy just got destroyed. So some paraphrase it, because that specific genre is always bad luck. But besides that, Earth Guy, this indie project, was a complete charm. It's one of those that he understands the audience. He understands who they're actually selling to for this indie project, because it does reference a lot of YouTube things like streamers or what else? Anime fans, people who like merch of anime, or people who like just ironically make fun of all the people. It just gets it. But I even more enjoy is the fact Neil is just sort of a normal guy. He's sort of I want to say an asshole, but a likable one, but never fully a mean one. It's one of those that put in the situation, you probably make a joke just because it's the right moment. But that sort of changed to actually get picked up with this sort of Galaxy High School of a bunch of aliens that he doesn't really know what to do. He sort of freaks out. He's sort of a little bit literate to try to understand this sort of people nowadays. But I find it fascinating. He just doesn't want to do anything. He just, okay, I just survived for this little bit. And that's sort of the main focus, at least the first two episodes of this indie, because each episode sort of opened us the door to understand who is Neo and all the other aliens, because each other alien feels sort of a trope of an anime character or a Western cartoon character, all mixed to this high school. Because there's one that is there's like they're a popular conqueror woman she is sort of angry over top, but at the same time feels something from an anime. It's sort of a knockoff of a sort of Cinderella in a way, but not angry. I don't like you, but I pretend because I don't understand my feelings. More like I don't really give a crap, but could like you, could be love interest. Also, you have the prince type who could be Neil's love interest. You also have another weirdo characters who are basically tropes from the West in cartoon troping, like the drama kids. And you get it. If you've seen both sides of anime and cartoons, you know the tropes, but sort of mixing up these two tropes together, that it makes a very enjoyable ride because each episode try to kind of explore which character who is who. Like the second episode, they sort of initiation by Neo. Every new student gets sort of harassed by the aliens, but the only problem is Neo is the only one who really stands out because he's human. And now he's sort of dodging left and right. But because of this interaction, you get to see each other characters, their personality, their clicks, their wants, and the reason why they want to use Neo. It's a sort of fun way to reintroduce all the cast. And that is sort of hard because the first episode, they knew that they can't really introduce everyone because it's sort of a very tall order. So they have to figure out a very fun way to actually do it. And let's face it, even anime, I don't know, maybe one anime or two, they actually introduce all the cast. That basically be Naruto, the first episode, and also He-Man, the anime version. That's the only two shows I remember that they actually introduced all the cast on the first episode and nail each one performance. Some of them takes me 2 episodes or 1 episode to introduce everyone, but you have to understand that is hard to do because you have to be sort of one-noted characters to do that, but also the joke or the personality have to be nailed in a few sentences. And that thing is just difficult to do because you don't know to be too cliche or not enough charming of that character if you know that sort of archetype in other words. But the Earth guy, this indie project, completely understands even the basic rule of 3:33 and 1:30 minutes. What I mean is the first 3 seconds you must grab the attention whatever the characters say. The 33 seconds you have to convince this character is likable, but you pass the 3 minute mark that basically convince them to watch the whole episode or pilot to actually finally accept the show as their own and keep watching. It's something that's so difficult to do that you have to be very careful what you're doing. If you don't, you crash and burn. And that's what's sort of interesting about this Earth Guy indie. It's understand that pretty well. And I'm just sort of surprised how smooth the comedy really is and how ridiculous the moments could be. And even that the animation is not that good. In fact, I think I'd like to say a good 60-75% of the boarding of the whole thing is actually good. That 20-25% is sort of off. When I mean boarding, I mean sort of the translation of the next scene. Some of them it's just pretty clever, especially episode 2. But at the same time, in episode 2, some of the translation to one scene to the next scene is sort of off. Like you get confused, like, okay, all the students disappeared because they're not being hunted by the whole senior elite. But the only problem is the how they disappeared didn't really confirm how they disappeared. You get confused. And that only happens once a little while that I don't know is sort of budget restraints or the fact the border or in the animers didn't know how to do that to make it more clear or more funnier. I mean, that's the problem of indie. Is sometimes a limit of your own creativity or understanding of the project. And you can see that they sort of struggle, but because the writing and the voice acting does carry the whole show so well that honestly I can forgive it because it did understand the whole point of this genre. It just gets it. Even that this specific genre is sort of cursed. Every time they do a high school in a galaxy in the same genre, it gets screwed over. But this one, hopefully, it doesn't. It has a good interest of people watching it that I do recommend it. Just watch it. I mean, of course, being warned, the animation is sort of not the animation, specifically the character designs. That's the main focus. It's not strong. It's kind of like I'm still in the beginner stages. I'm still learning how to make the characters more movement. Like it doesn't have that 300-degree perfect turn now, where it's like you could turn all the characters 300 different degrees and you see every different angle, but it feels how the character angle actually look like. And this one feels they almost understand that sort of logic because sometimes the legs I feel a little bit too stick figure, doesn't feel like legs or the hands, but it's not a critique. It's something I understand, but at the same time, it gives it that sort of charm. In other words, it gives it identity of the art. That's something that they need to polish, but try to work on running that to completely get rid of it, but just know how to use it in the right places. That sort of kind of stick figure kind of feeling, but it does work of this own advantage if they know what they do and understand the situation. If I make sense, because sometimes I don't. I'm sorry, but besides that, have you heard of Earth God? This indie project. In fact, recommend me any more indies. If you've seen one that I kind of missed, because let's face it, there are a lot of indies, but it's so hard to actually find them because they're not really recommended by YouTube. In fact, I do always say every single video, kind of, what's to say, support our indie brethren and sisters because let's face it, the more support we have in indie, the more Hollywood realize what people actually want in the animation. Basically, if you want more better animation, more better writing, more better quality, just support indie. And Hollywood would listen and figure it out, oh, let's copy that. We stop copying Family Guy or South Park or any other show. They take these shows and do their own, or buy them, or ask them to rebuy the project. At least we get something out of it, at least. But besides that, what do you think about this indie project? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.